Hello mathematicians! In this tutorial, I will show how to use an online TVM app for compound interest problems that involve regular payments. And I'll also give some advice on how to start investing. There are options if you do not own a TI-84 calculator. You can also find the TVM solver online or as an app that you can download on your phone. Online, it is available at www.fnforfinancialcalculator.com, or the app you can download for Apple is called Easy Financial Calculators. The Android version is just called Financial Calculators, and they are both available free. Using the web version, you get this basic version of a TVM calculator. I have an earlier video where I explained how to use this one. And then if you click here on the advanced version, this is the version we'll be using where you can make regular payments. Like let's say you need to make regular deposits because you're trying to save money for something, or you're making regular payments off of the loan. So where is your dream vacation? If you'd like to go to any of these places, or maybe you have another place in mind, this can be quite expensive, so it's a good idea to start saving money by making regular payments. And that's what we're going to look at today, is figure out how much will your money grow using compounded interest when you're making regular payments. The TVM solver uses a cash flow model of money, which may be a little counterintuitive at first, but here it is. Whenever money comes out of your pocket, it's considered negative. So in this case, whenever we're going to make a regular payment, that's going to be considered negative. Any money you deposit or any down payment you made is considered negative because it's coming out of your pocket. You are investing it, so it's no longer in your pocket. On the other hand, if you receive a loan, then that is money that's given to you, so it's coming into your pocket, so that would be considered positive, as well as the future value of an investment, or perhaps you have an investment that you're now getting it paid out to you in regular payments, it could be a pension, and in those cases, money is coming to you, so those values would be positive. We need to talk about the idea of regular payments. And that just means how often are the payments being made per year. So annually would be once a year, semi-annually twice a year, quarterly 4 times a year, monthly 12 times a year. Weekly would be 52 times a year. Now bi-weekly means every second week. So that'd be 52 divided by 2, that would be 26 times a year. And daily means 365 times a year. Compounding periods per year have the same idea of frequency. If you're used to the TVM solver, this works out to, or represents payments per year, which the TVM solver writes as payments per year that way, and versus compounding periods per year, the TVM solver refers to it as compounding periods per year this way. So some things to know before we get to some actual questions. For solving compound interest problems using TVM, most often the payments are going to be made at the end of the month. So usually we just leave it the mode to the default setting of end. The present value, if you're not starting off with any money, then that would be 0, and you don't have to enter the 0. It's the default. The payments here, if we are depositing regularly, that would be negative. Remember, if it's coming out of your pocket, it's negative, or the payments would be positive if it's money that we are receiving on a regular basis. The future value is denoted FV. The annual rate will be given to you. Now, always leave this on annual because interest rates are quoted by financial institutions as annual rates, even though they may be compounded differently. And again, that would refer to the compounding periods we saw on the previous page. Now, the one tricky thing to remember here is how do you figure out what the periods are. If you're familiar with the TVM calculator, that's what they call N. So this will be equal to the number of payments per year times the number of years. So again, that's payments per year times the number of years. Many students have told me that they're dreaming of going to Hawaii one day. So let's get you started towards your dream. You decided that you're going to save $125 every month. So because that money is coming out of your pocket and you're depositing it on a regular basis every month, but because it's coming out of your pocket, it's negative. And it is something, a payment you're making monthly, so we can leave that as is. The interest rate is 3.5. Important to note that you leave that as a percent. It's not like the compound interest formula. If you were using algebraically the actual formula, you would have to convert to a decimal. But when you're using a TVM solver, leave it as a percent. And this always stays as annual, as we mentioned. However, the compounding is semi-annual. So you would change this to semi-annual. And now we have to figure out how many periods. In other words, how many times are you actually going to make this payment if you're going to be saving for 4 years? Well, since it is monthly, so the payments per year times the number of year is going to be 12 payments per year times 4 years for a total of 48 periods. So 48 goes in here. Let's see what the future value will be. Here we are on the advanced version of the calculator. Once you've entered the numbers, you just click on future value. To get that, we would save a total of $6,427.02. Now we'll look at how to solve the same problem, but using the app on your phone. It's the same thing. The only little tricky thing is entering these negative payments. So if you click on payments, remember we want to enter the number negative 125. If you look down here, you see a decimal and a negative sign. So to actually, if you click on it once, you get a decimal. So here I have decimal 125, but if I want it to be negative because it's money coming out of my pocket, you have to click a second time on that key, and that's how you'll get the negative. So just remember, to get the negative, you have to click twice on this key right here. And doing so, the rest of it is the same. You'll end up with the same number that we got on the web. Important rule when investing is pay yourself first. So, financial advisors say you should save 20 to 30% of your income, and even 50% if you are living at home and your parents are paying. It's a good idea to have two savings accounts, actually. You can have one for your education, or perhaps you can be saving for your retirement. And you can have another account that's like a fun account. So let's say you're saving up for that trip to Hawaii. It's a great idea to do a pre-authorized contribution plan. So that's what we're doing now. And it's talking about regular payments that you would be making to yourself. Your parents can open up an investment account for you that's held in trust. So if you wanted to already start investing in stocks or mutual funds, your parents could actually do that in your name. Now, some of the different things you could invest in, RESPs, we're going to talk about that in a second. That's investing for your education, tax-free savings accounts, registered retirement savings plans, and guaranteed investment certificates. I just wanted to say a word about guaranteed investment certificates, or GICs. These are investments where you actually have to lock up your money for a certain period of time, but then you tend to get a little bit higher interest rates than if you were just leaving it in a savings account. And stay away from credit cards. Try to use your debit card instead. Credit card companies charge you interest rates of 19 to about 30%, way more than the interest you would get if you were investing. So a good idea to stay away from credit cards. Psst, I'll tell you guys a secret. How to get a 20% return. What you have to do is get a registered education savings plan. Now, you can contribute to one up until the age of 17. You must deposit $2,000 before age 15. The amazing thing is that the government will give you a free 20 cents for every dollar you invest. And that's up to your investments of $2,500 per year. So quickly, what is that in terms of free money? 20% times $2,500 works out to $500 free money. So definitely a good incentive to get an RESP and start saving up. Now, the one catch is that you cannot take the money out that you save until you get to post-secondary. But when you are in post-secondary, whether it be college, university, or trade schools, you can use the money for your education, and you can even use it to buy a car. A tax-free savings account is another great idea. And you can get one of these as soon as you turn 19 years old. So I hope that if you're not 19 yet, you do get one as soon as you turn 19. You can contribute up to $6,000 a year. Now it changes every few years, but so far in Canada it's $6,000, and that'll be all the interest you earn on that money will be tax-free. So that's the big advantage of these savings accounts. Now, you may have also be wondering about an RRSP, which is a Registered Retirement Savings Plan. This is something that you may want to think about when you get older. So when they say when you're earning about 40 to 50K, and there's no minimum age required for that. You can contribute as long as you filed a tax return the previous year, and it'll defer the taxes that you'll defer paying taxes on that money. But again, that's more when you are already earning a substantial amount. If you're a student, you should stick to a tax-free savings account. The best thing you can do is to start saving early. As an example here, suppose you're saving $50 a month and you start at age 25. Well, under certain terms here, you'll end up with $78,000. Whereas if you start at age 55, you only get not even $8,000. And even if you just invest for a few years when you're young, starting now, and then leave that money there and don't add another penny, you can end up earning way more than someone who contributes more but during less time. So speaking of investing early, here's another example. Let's say that within 40 years, you want to have $350,000 in your RRSP, which has a 4% annual interest rate, and that is compounded monthly. So how much would you have to start saving every week in order to make your goal? So the future value we want is $350,000. And what we're going to try to figure out is how many, what our payments should be weekly. So we're going to change the payments here to weekly. We said to always keep the interest rate as annual, and it is 4%. However, it is compounded monthly, so we could leave that at the default. And how many periods? Meaning how many times would we actually be making our payments? Well, this would be payments per year times the number of years. Since we are paying weekly, that would be 52 times a year times 40 years. And this works out to 2,080 periods. So we would enter 2,080 periods. In order to reach your goal, you would have to deposit $68.25. Notice it's negative, meaning you're making a payment. Congratulations, you just bought your first car. It's a second-hand car, and you took out a $10,000 loan in order to buy it. The loan, therefore, that's money you received, so that would be positive because it's money that was given to you, is now in your pocket, and you have that financed at 5.1%. It's an annual rate, but it's compounded semi-annually. So we'll set this to semi-annual. And you are making monthly payments of $350. Because it's coming out of your pocket every month, that is negative. And the payments are going to be monthly. So how long will it take to pay off the loan? How many pay periods would we need? We would need 30.5 months. So we got 30.05 periods. So let's just say that's 30 periods divided by, well, you're making 12 payments a year, so divided by 12, this would end up being about 2.5 years. It would take you about 2.5 years to pay back this loan. When we talk about loans, we also talk about total cost of the loan and the financial charge of the loan. So in our $10,000 loan, how much did we actually end up paying for that? We were making $350 payments every month for 30 months, which is a total of $10,500. So the financial charge is the difference between the two. So in the end, you ended up having to pay an extra $500 in interest for this $10,000 loan. And that's the financial charge of the loan. In our last example, we're going to look at investing money until retirement, and then we're going to look at that money being paid out to you once you retire. So let's say at age 25, you start investing $100 every month, and your interest rate is 7.5% compounded annually. So how much money will you have by the time you reach age 65? So we said the payments are coming out of your pocket every month, so that's $100 negative. The annual interest rate is 7.5. Always leave it annual. The payments are being made monthly. The compounding here is annual. Now we have to figure out the periods. So that is equal to the payments per year times the number of years. Since we're making monthly payments, the payments per year is 12. And it's going to take me 40 years to go from age 25 to 65. So the number of periods is 480. Let's see how much we'll end up with. The future value is $281,959.76. In the next part of this question, you've now reached the age of 65 and you have all this money saved up, and you're going to invest that money, and you want to set it up so that you get regular payments for the rest of your life. So this is a little tricky. You actually have to predict how long you're going to live, which actually happened to my dad. He got a lump sum when he retired and had to predict how many years he was going to live so that he could have equal payments paid out to him over those remaining years. And he actually underestimated how long he was going to live. So he ran out of that money, but luckily he's still getting some other pension. But anyways, here we go. So the savings you have, that's your present value, but you're going to invest it. So that's going to be negative because it's coming out of your pocket. And we're going to figure out how much are you going to get if you spread out the payments so that you get regular payments every month for the next 20 years. The interest rate you are investing this at is 5.5%, and it's compounded semi-annually. And 20 years is going to be 12 payments per year, because you want to be paid monthly, times 20 years. You're figuring you're going to last for 20 years. So that works out to 240 as the number of periods or payouts that you would get. You would get $1,929.71 per month. But to summarize, in this video, we looked at how to use a TVM app to figure out how much your money can grow when you're making investments. And a big idea is to pay yourself first and invest early.